Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mitch Taco Bell. If you guys haven't joined me on a podcast before, welcome to Tall Tales with Taco. I'm your host. I'm a retired Marine Lieutenant Colonel, and it's a real honor and pleasure tonight to have a good friend of mine, Jeremiah Workman, join us for a special Veterans Day episode. To all my Marine brothers and sisters out there, happy 246th anniversary birthday of the United States Marine Corps, the finest fighting force, the few, the proud to ever exist. I know my Army buddies will contemplate that, but I will say thank you to all my fellow Marines. It's a huge day when we start talking about some of the things that we've done in the Marine Corps. When you look at the past battles and what our Marines went through in the Pacific or in Okinawa or in Korea, and then you get into Vietnam where it's more guerrilla warfare, but then you have battles of Hue, and probably the Battle of Hue urban environment was the last time that we had truly had urban warfare. I would say that was until the Battle of Fallujah in 2004. So tonight, Jeremiah was kicked off the battle in November 7th of 2004, and he wrote a book, which I highly recommend. You can get off the internet there. Shadow of the Sword, A Marine's Journey of War, Heroism, and Redemption. And I tell you what, it's a very powerful book. It's a very powerful Marine, a great inspiration to many. And without further ado, I'd like to bring on my friend, Jeremiah. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. So you've moved back to Ohio. Aho, way to go.
Yes, OH.
How are you digging it out there?
We love it. The slow pace of life. The only traffic jam I get into now is if there's a combine on the road. So I'm not sitting on that parking lot in 95 in that DC corridor. So life is good, man.
Yeah, God. Well, what people don't know is after you got out of the Marine Corps, you ended up working for the VA. So you were down in Quantico at the VA for how many years did you put in with them?
Yeah, 12 years with the VA. Yeah.
Wow.
I belonged to the main office in DC, but luckily I was fapped out to Quantico. Thank
Yeah.
goodness. It made it tolerable, the commute. But yeah, 12 years. That's
So Jessica finally said, "Hey, listen, dummy man, we're out of here. I'm tired of the rat race. We're going back home."
that's it. We're high school sweethearts, and I literally looked at her. I said, "Can we please go home? When's enough enough?"
Yeah.
And that night, we found our place and put an offer on it, and just everything kind of fell into place. And, we've been blessed.
Well, God definitely works in great ways to guide us, right? God points in life. I
Absolutely.
looking back at pictures of Jessica, I'm like, there's this one picture of you two. You're in your dress blues. She is just all dolled up, and I'm like, we both married up well above our pay grade, man. I'm serious.
Oh, there's no doubt.
You tell her I said that.
Yeah, I will.
You married well above your pay grade, Bubba, and
Yep.
I don't know how much money I have to pay my wife to be married to me, but it's a great time. Hey, how's Devin doing?
Devin's doing good. He's actually sitting here listening to us, and he's a freshman in high school now. Just went through football season, rolled right into basketball season. But he's doing well. He's getting really good grades. Like I shared with you before we started, when we did that trip to Fort Worth. I'm trying to think of how old he would have been back then. Maybe 8. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Oh my goodness. Um, that definitely had an impact on his life because he now wants to be a Marine aviator. So yeah, it's
So
pretty awesome.
So we have this Cowtown Warrior Ball every year, and that's where I first met Jeremiah. Probably, I think the first one or the second one, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think
And
it was the first.
when you were there, we got a shot right there. That's Tiny Patrick over there off my left. He's not so tiny.
Yeah,
And of course, you guys. Oh, and Michael and Cecilin. And oh God, man, we got everybody.
Yep.
Um, the trip down there for you folks, when I took them out to the base, we got Devin and Jeremiah in F-18 sim, and I think we also went up to the C-130 sim. So they got to fly an F-18, play with the C-130, and he's holding a certificate saying that basically he had flown the F-18. And then you did this great deal for me. We have the young Marine unit down on base, and you came down to speak to the young Marines, which was just a great deal, a lot of inspiration. The kids love that visit.
Yeah, I always.
So,
It's awesome talking to the young ones like that. It's they look up to military folks, and just being able to get in front of them and just try to motivate them and inspire them. It's
well,
cool because I remember being that age and soaking everything in like that, and it's special.
well, that was definitely not the first time you've done that for me. When we had the Summer Leadership Character Development Academy, you came to the auditorium there and
Yeah.
gave a talk to all of our high school kids,
Yep.
which was a fantastic talk. And that's why I was going to ask you. I know over the years it's been a number of years, but if you could kind of just give us the audience, they haven't had a chance to read your book, but I highly recommend that they need to buy this and read it because as before, this was always kind of like the guide to Snuffy's actual trigger puller guy in the military in the Marine Corps doing damage to the enemy. And when I read your book, I've been over there, but I never pulled the trigger. And to read your book and what you guys went through, you are my idol. And I tell you what, brother, I read that stuff and I just go, that makes me so damn proud to know you and to know you're a humble guy and you give a lot back. And so, with everything you've experienced, being able to go into the VA and help others like you, you keep giving when you could stop and you just keep giving. So, first of all, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. It's what we do. It's uh, I've been out of the Marine Corps since 2010, and the fire's still burning, even though I can't put my camis, and I'm not wearing a Marine Corps uniform. We can still do our part. We can still serve. We can still inspire, teach, train, mentor, lead, all those things, and I take it pretty serious. And just if I could do something small to help somebody out, save a life, it's worth it.
Well, let me ask you this: as a squad leader, you're going through all of your Marine Corps training before you went to Iraq. You didn't do the initial push, right?
I did not know.
So your first battle was Fallujah.
Correct.
How would you equate your training exercises, wherever you guys did them in Pendleton or Mojave Viper or wherever you guys went out, um, to how you really experienced it? I mean, for the first time, bullets whizzing by in real life, do you feel that training equipped you well enough to handle the situations?
It's funny you asked that because I have been asked that probably 100 times over the years, and um, quite frankly, there's no amount of training that will prepare you for the moment that a scenario where it becomes a two-way rifle range. It just but what I do take away from Mojave Viper and Bridgeport and all those things we did leading up to the deployment is unit cohesion and getting to know your brothers. Because I think once the bullets do start flying, you got to be able to, shoot, move, communicate, but it's knowing who's to the left and to the right of you and what they're capable of that really, I think, sets us over that makes us successful in the battlefield. Um, Marines, we're war fighters. from the time whether San Diego, Parris Island, Quantico, it doesn't matter. We're taught to fight. They start teaching us tactics, all those things. So I think, the training kind of hones the skill. But by the time it's showtime or it's go time, you already know what to do. It's those things it's the fear of the unknown. But for me, it was just getting to know those Marines and knowing their capabilities before we started kicking doors down.
Well, that came out in your book. So as you're reading it and you're talking about Flannery, Flannery was in the initial push. He knew what to do. Then, hey, you guys go up the street and you guys like, screw that. I'm going with you. I'm getting some. But can on that day in December 23rd. Now, when I went to Fallujah, it was in 2005. They just finished. Was it Phantom Fury 2 or something like that in 2005? And Fallujah is still just such a crap hole. But they were always shooting rockets over at the base trying to blow us up.
It's
I don't even know how you guys managed. So they cordoned off. If people don't know the battle, they cordoned off the city of Fallujah, and they dropped flyers. They did loudspeakers telling everybody, "Hey, if you are not the enemy, get the hell out." Correct. So basically, everybody in there was a bad guy. There was no ands, ifs, or buts.
Yes.
Did they ever have an estimate on how many fighters you guys took on?
I've heard everything from 5,000 to it's gotten kind of outlandish over the years. Some of the things I've heard, but what I do know is, like you said, they dropped the leaflets. There was quite a campaign going on prior to November 7th to let people in that city know, hey, the Marine Corps is rolling in, and if you're inside that city, you're fair game. But people that, for those that don't know, Fallujah 1, we've got pulled out the Marine Corps for political reasons. So they had a lot of time, the insurgents in that city, to dig in, fortify, booby traps, the whole 9 yards. So I think that's what made it, what it was, the fact that they had so long. They knew we were going to come back in, but we gave them so long to prepare. And it was
were those guys blowing holes through the building so they could E&E out, get over here and reattack?
Oh, yeah. It kind of reminded me, you go back to Vietnam and you talk about the tunnel systems, or back in World War II and Iwo Jima, the caves and everything. It was very similar to that, except they were crawling from house to house. They very, fanatical people that wanted to end our way of life. So,
well, as you guys are going down the streets and you're reading in the book the descriptions of the automatic fire coming from the windows above, and you're running through a hail of bullets. Is it they're just trying to spray and pray, put mass, or do you think it was the AKs were rocking so much that they could not aim because
I would say it was a little bit of both, but I've seen some crazy ass stuff over there. I've the pickup trucks rolling down the road, they're shooting mortars out of the back of the truck while they're doing 50 miles an hour. So I'm guessing it was a little bit of both, but quite honestly, some of it got to be comical. Some of their tactics that they used.
Really, like what?
Well, the one that sticks in my mind the most is definitely they'd launch a mortar at us, and they would always say, "If you don't move," because they can't hit the same spot twice. That they were just so inaccurate with their weapon systems, and and you want to, I don't know up until that point if they were going through the terrorist training camps. I'm sure there was something they went through, but I remember we running into Iraqi special forces, and we were watching them scale a wall, and we were literally laughing. I'm like, oh my God, this is the cream of the crop here.
Right.
Yeah, it's just little things you think about, it's like, but
Well, how did you guys start off? Did you have a Ptsd move, start one side and start working your way in, or four corners? How did
yeah,
they
so
kick the battle off? Do you
basically,
remember?
all U.S. forces staged on the north side of the city. Most people that are familiar with the train station in Fallujah, if they know anything about the city. So we're all kind of standing out there in the desert for, I guess we got out there probably on the 5th of November, hung out for a couple days. They dropped, they sent F-18s in, dropped bombs on the railroad tracks, and that's what really initiated the battle. I remember standing there watching the Marines go through where the bombs had just landed, and it reminded me of like a scene from Ewo, or the soldiers storming the beach over in Normandy. It just kind of like a flashback back to things I'd seen in movies and things. But yeah, I think there were 4 Marine battalions and 2 Army battalions. We started on the north side of the city, and it was just like a squeegee. We just worked our way south. And what made it great, we've hit it on a couple times, is if you were there, you were considered a bad person. And we called it the Wild West. So I feel grateful, at least when I was over there, that we were given the opportunity to do our jobs and not be basically handcuffed like at different periods of the war.
Sure. And ROE, you didn't have to worry about busting into a house and, oh my God, shooting a mother and a child. If somebody's in there, they're a bad guy.
Yep, they knew way ahead of time that we were rolling in, and if you were there, you were up to no good.
Tell us about some of the stuff you found. I mean, that always interests me. All the weapon systems that you would find from, an $8,000 World War II MP40 that you could sell for $100,000, or cans of ammunition with Nazi stamps on it. There was all sorts of crazy crap.
It makes you wonder how in the hell does all this stuff end up in this city? We found thousands of rounds. Like you said, they were stamped with the swastikas on the casings.
Yeah.
155 artillery shells that had come in from Brazil.
Really?
And that country of origin was Brazil. But like weapons that I've never seen. And then we'd find American weapons. It was just all kinds of stuff. And you're left scratching your head thinking, how in the hell do they get this stuff here? We'd find a lot of American TNT, or the blocks of C4, I guess.
Yeah, C4. Yeah.
And it's like, well, they got it from. Where'd they get it from? But huge caches of weapons everywhere, all over that city. These people had really done a good job of preparing for us to come in. They just they couldn't hang with the varsity.
What'd you guys do when you find like a room full of weapons? You just destroy them in place if you could?
Well, that's the
haul
bad
them
thing is we'd find a big cache, or there'd be an ID laid, and we always would call EOD. They would come. If it was an ID, they would do their thing. If it was a cache of weapons and ammo, loaded up in a 7-ton, they took it to wherever they took it and just blew it up. Get it off the streets.
Amazing. Did the guys ever double back? And did you have instances where you're fighting in this one block and then all of a sudden they disappear like rats, and now you got to take them out and exterminate them on?
Yeah, that's actually how we kind of got caught on the 23rd, is during the actual push starting November 7th. Not saying we went too fast, but we made it halfway through the city to the main intersection that ran east and west. And what it was we were coming up on the election date, and they were getting ready to let all the civilians come back into Fallujah for that first election. Mm-hmm. And what we were really worried about was, okay, 70% of them are going to be bad guys, 30% of them are going to be good guys, but we don't know. So what they did was they put us back on the north end of the city, and they said, we're going to go through again, all weapons, ammo, anything we can find, we got to get rid of it. And that's how we stumbled upon those lunatics on the 23rd. Was they had come in behind us and were, trying to conduct business and do terrorist things. And yeah, we walked into a hornet's nest.
How did they kick that off? It was just one squad? I mean, your squad?
Yeah, so we were going door to door. I thought we'd probably been doing it about 2 weeks. And, one thing that gets tough, it's hot, you're carrying a lot of gear, complacency will start to set in. That was one of the hardest things for me, was just, I feel for the Marines, and it sucks, but we got to keep our wits about us. We got to be on our A game. Mm-hmm. And after doing it for 2 weeks and not seeing anything except chickens and goats, it does start to wear on you. And we, one squad went into that house and business as usual. And I was across the street, actually, in another house. And I heard AK fire erupt. And some of us carried AKs, side weapons.
I was going to ask, you had an AK. Yeah. How did you come? Did you just grab it off, find a halfway decent one and go, hey, this is not Iraqi stamp one, so maybe it shoots straight.
Dime a dozen all over the place. Pick it up and sling it over your shoulder. Keep on moving. But when I heard there's definitely a distinct difference between an M4 and an AK. And when I heard the M4 fire return, I knew that they had contact over there. So that's how it all started. They basically, from what we gathered after the fact, was they were having a high-level terrorist meeting in the upstairs floor of this house, and we stumbled into their meeting.
How many floors on this building?
3.
3. Wow.
3 stories, yeah. And it was kind of, if there is a rich part of Fallujah, that's the section that we were in. 3-story houses, very nice houses compared to the rest of the city. Kind of looked like most of the houses were like fortresses almost. And that also made you scratch your head and think to yourself, you're using the bathroom in a hole in the floor. How in the hell were you able to build this, for their standards, wonderful house? I mean, it's certain things over there just
makes you scratch your head.
Yeah, it's like, how do they do this?
Marble inlaid walls,
marble floors. It's just, yeah.
So when the initial guys that were in that house, they got trapped in there, correct?
They did, yeah. And that, that's what everybody's heard the term, we don't leave anybody behind. No man left on the battlefield, and that's exactly what was going to happen. We weren't leaving anybody in that house that day.
Right.
And that's what led to multiple assaults on the house. It lasted about 3 hours before we could finally get everybody out of the house. But the insurgents, the part that really is weird to me to this day is, we talked about it earlier before we started, like the tunnels, or how they were reinforcing their position, and we had no idea. Because I remember thinking to myself, my God, how many damn terrorists could fit in this damn house? I mean, we're taking them down, and they keep coming. We don't know till days after that they were sneaking in somehow. But yeah, it was almost like a damn video game.
Well, you were getting shot at through the windows and you're putting suppressive fire up there. Did we ever have anything like we could shoot tear gas up there just to clear them out because they don't have masks, just to
Yeah.
mess them up a little bit? Did they
No,
bring anything like that?
we never had a gas. We did utilize some flashbangs from time to time, but we never had gas. In fact, that probably would have been pretty damn effective. But
Yeah. I mean, they got snot. I mean, we come out of the gas chamber. I can imagine these guys sitting there, snot running down to their knees, and they can't see. They're not going to be able to shoot that well.
Absolutely.
I would have had an M79 with tear gas rounds because you could put it right through that window.
Yeah, I mean, you literally you lob a couple of those rounds into the house and cordon off the house and pick them off as they run out, blinded by the gas.
Yeah. Oh no. Jeremiah. Folks, we may have just run into a little internet problem on Jeremiah's end. Let's see if we can get him back. Hold on a second. Here we go. Got you back. Okay. You froze right as you're talking. I'm like, oh, this is getting good.
Yeah. No, but it's amazing what human beings will do when your brother or sister is in a situation like that. It's just when I think back to it, and it's not about me. It's never been about me. It's about those Marines I served with and had the chance to go in that house with, and watching them do what they did and not think twice. One of my best friends on the planet, Phil Levine, I write about him in the book quite a bit.
FBI agent later on?
No. He was like 34 when he joined. He was at the max cutoff. He was from New York City, I believe the Bronx, and the heavy accent and the hands flying all over when he talks. Love the guy.
Right.
But what he did in that house was nothing short of just, I mean, if it were up to me, he'd have a Medal of Honor on his neck. And I saw that so many times that day. Marines just doing what they had to do to take care of their brothers and make sure nobody was left in that terrible, shitty house. And it's just
how big I can't remember. What are you, 5'11", 6 foot?
6 foot.
I mean, I got a picture of you back in the day. And how much did you weigh back then?
About 200.
Yeah. So about 206, 6 foot. So you're like the bullet sponge, throwing you in the point, and you're the bullet sponge for everybody else stacked up behind you.
Yeah. But I wouldn't have it any other way. All it takes is somebody to make that first move.
Yeah.
And it's clockwork. It's like a well-oiled machine. We do what we have to do. We know what everybody beside us is doing. And but yeah, that's what I cling to. We lost we lost 3 Marines that day, and everybody that was in the house received a Purple Heart. But what I really cling, the memory of those Marines that passed away that day, our job is to keep their memory alive, make sure they're never forgotten. And, those Marines, the things they did, they put others before themselves. And it's just special. And it's hard to describe when you're witnessing people do things like that in a not normal situation. It's like, it's almost unearthly, almost like that they would be willing to do that for their brother like that, But that's what I cling to. I had the opportunity to serve with warriors,
point did you just, if I get killed, Lord, take care of my wife, take care of my family? At what point did you accept that you were probably going to die that day? Do you remember?
I do. Um, I'd watched my buddy Levine he took a armor piercing AK-47 round through his shoulder. Wouldn't leave the house. He's bleeding out. He's turning blue. It's getting ugly in there. And I think it was the second or third grenade that went off that kind of whacked most of us on the staircase, got me in the legs. But between me throwing up, bleeding, I fell down. It blew me down the stairs, and I remember sitting there. And the way I describe it is like I'm looking through a straw, and it's getting smaller, smaller, and smaller until finally it just went black. And I thought that was it. I thought I had passed.
Was that after the grenade had gone off?
Yeah.
So were you getting the you talk about getting the concussion and stuff?
Yeah, and what I really remember about it is, as I remember my eyes closing, I remember thinking, this is peaceful. Like, I'm here with my boys, and I know they're not going to leave me here. But I thought that was it. And then my battalion XO slapped the hell out of me and woke me up, and I realized I was still in that shithole. And I got pretty upset. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be in here.
Don't wake me up.
Yeah, no, it's so weird because I just remember thinking, my God, this is peaceful.
Yeah. So you get back onto your feet and you're right back into the action. You're suffering from hearing loss?
Yeah, the hearing loss, the ringing in the ears. I'll tell you another thing that really got me and that I was fighting that day is too much adrenaline can have a negative effect on your body. And I could not stop throwing up. Like every 10 steps I took, I was just throwing up all over myself. And
really?
the only thing I can attribute it to is the adrenaline. Now, I think the concussions and all that probably wasn't helping, but I was throwing up before the first grenade ever went off. So I really do think it was the adrenaline.
So at one point, you had actually run out of ammunition on your M4, right? Sling your AK.
Yeah, we were using AKs, but at one point, I mean, we literally ran out of ammo. We were tossing grenades like they were going out of style, and we had to leave the house, which was a scary thing because, we're looking and we have eyes on our Marines. We're trying to get out of the house, but we're out of ammo. So to leave the house, even though it was maybe, 3 minutes to come out of the house, get more magazines, more grenades, and head back in the house. It was a pretty, it was definitely a kick in the, what, because you just felt helpless. Like what's going to happen in that 2 or 3 minute time frame. But we did that 2 or 3 times where we had to leave and get more, stock up again.
I got corrected by Freddie Joe Farnsworth, M79. Yes,
Blooper,
I am old. I like that thing. I just think it's badass. But a 203.
203. Yeah.
Anybody shoot a 203 lob them into the windows, or could you?
I don't remember anybody having gas.
Oh, not gas. I mean, shooting a frag.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they were. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure they were. But the problem you were running into was that once we made our way up to the second story of that house, where everything was going on. Now you got to worry about the blue on blue from the Marines outside shooting in on us. I mean, it got real hairy real quick, and we were trying to wave the folks outside that were providing fire into that second, third story of the house. Like, hey, we're up here. You got to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, because at one point you guys were just passing grenades all the way up to you at the front, and all you had to do was what? I mean, what's the prime the grenade?
Yeah, I was milking. I started milking them because I think it's a 3 to 5 second fuse delay. And I remember throwing one and the guy kicking it right back out. And I'm like, okay, this ain't going to work no more. So I'll tell you, one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my life is pull the pin on that grenade and let it milk for a second or two before throwing it. And it's like, I know this thing was built by the lowest bidder.
Lowest bidder, yeah.
You know, and it's like, please, 3 to 5 seconds.
But the concussion from your own grenades must have been
it's
overpowering as well.
It's one thing, it's one thing to be out on a rifle range and you're popping off rounds and, it's loud, but when you're inside a structure, and especially, it's all stone or concrete, it is deafening to the point of words can't describe. You're talking small arms, and then when you throw grenades into the mix, it is, it's total chaos.
Did you guys have any hearing protection in?
No. And the reason being, it's hard enough to communicate.
Yeah.
When it's hitting the fan like that, there's no way in the hell they just said, no, we never, we're mortar guys. So even before going into the city proper, we were having fire missions. I never wore hearing protection because when the FDC would pass me, the info to put on the mortars, I was always deathly afraid I was going to miss or, screw up the data because I had hearing protection in. So I never did. I just didn't.
And what was the final tipping point for that particular battle on December 23rd? How did you guys finally get them overcome the enemy on that third floor?
Yeah, we kept taking it to them inside the house long enough to where other Marines from outside the house were able to come from the house next door. The houses were so close you could jump from roof to roof.
Right.
And, they were able to get those Marines out of the house while we were still occupying the insurgents inside the house. So once it became evident that everybody was out of the house, we pulled out and they dropped air on the house. We leveled the whole block.
Good.
I remember we probably went 5 blocks away and we sat there and I could hear it was an F-18 coming in. And when those bombs hit, the concrete and the mortar was still falling on our heads 5 blocks away. It was unbelievable.
And those guys probably thought, yeah, we kicked their asses. Yeah. You guys, pussies, go, run, Marines, run.
Yep. I'll tell you, that's a scary sound. It's a good sound to hear, but after experiencing it that close, every time I hear a jet now out here in Richwood, Ohio, I'm like, oh God.
Are they coming for me? Yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of an F-18, A-10, F-16, whatever, when they're coming in, pitching down to drop some love.
It's amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So was that it after they leveled that place? How were your wounds? Did you have to?
We so immediately afterwards we went back to Bravo Surgical at Camp Fallujah. That was when things started to sink in. Like, with taking the Marines out of the back of the vehicles.
Yeah.
But that's when I met Sergeant Major Kent.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sergeant Major Kent, and I believe it was General Sadler, was the 1 MEF CG at the time. They came out anytime there was a Marine that we lost on the battlefield, they would come out and meet the Marines that were there. And that was the first time he hugged us. You know, he talked to us, and he just trying to get us to keep our heads up.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time I met Sergeant Major Kent, and it was just, yeah. But it was, everybody else, we went to Bravo Surgical. There were some pretty severe wounds, like my buddy Levine. There were several others. Luckily for me, I had the shrapnel, and the way I describe it is like somebody took a big cactus and just kicked my ass with it. Like they were just beating me with this cactus. That's what it felt. And it was like 2 weeks after, it just felt like I had needles stuck in me, where the shrapnel was making its way to the surface of the skin.
Really? Would you get to the point where you're taking a shower and snag on your towel, or you?
No, it was never. It was so fine. Like, if you grab like a
fiberglass,
exactly.
You get the little splinters in you.
Yeah. But it was weeks and weeks after that day that it finally started to. I had a couple larger pieces in my calf and my elbow that our platoon corpsman hooked me up. But that how that happened, I don't know. How being up in the front like that and absorbing some of those blasts, and the only thing I know what it was is they were using homemade ghetto ass grenades that they had hand built.
Really?
Yeah. If they were using American type, M67 frag grenades, I don't think any of us in that house would have came out alive. The way they built these grenades that they were using that day, it was more flame than it was shrapnel. So when their grenades would go off, the whole room, it looked like somebody, shot a gas can.
Right.
Thank God. It was more show than it was. I guess is the only way I can describe it. But thank God, because as close as we were, it just.
And did you have another month of house clearing after that?
No, that was actually, I think, the last day we did it. That was
really,
yeah. And the second Battle of Fallujah, most folks, they started on November 7th and they ended on December 23rd. That was it. Not saying there weren't skirmishes happening around after that, but as far as the heavy fighting.
Here's a crazy question for you. It started November 7th. What did you guys do in battle for the birthday? Because people always ask that question, and you hear some great stories about, we literally were huddled in a foxhole, World War II, Okinawa, and we shared one guy, I don't know where he got this candle from, and he put it in, and he had the little pound cake in the sea ration, and he put it in, and we lit the candle, and the whole time I'm thinking I'm going to get hit by a sniper. You hear some incredible stories. What did you guys?
So they allotted, this is crazy, but we were back at our Iraqi house out in the city, and they said you could have 2 beers. There was 2 Budweisers, or you could have 1 like airplane shot. And I'll never forget, typical Marine Corps, it was like the supply staff and CO is making you sign the damn duty book to check out your 2 cans of Budweiser. So
right.
So you don't get 3. But it's funny, we did take a pound cake out of an MRE, and we put matches in the little holes in the cake.
Right.
And we lit the matches, and that was our little birthday cake.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I'll never, it'd been months since anybody had any alcohol. And I remember having my 2 Budweisers thinking, my God, that just kicked my ass.
2 butt wipers and you're done. Yeah.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
Oh, I think the heat. if everybody could only know the heat and the stress and those, I bet those beers taste pretty good.
Oh, it, you know what? That's so. All I could think about was I just want to make it to April, get back to Southern California, hit the beach, and drink a cold beer watch the waves roll in. Yep.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah,
So when you got back from Iraq, you actually went back to the drill field, right? So you
I
guys
did.
moved. Did you go back to California and then Parris
Yes.
Island?
Yeah. So we came back in April of '05. I got orders to Parris Island. I think I left California September-ish of '05.
Right.
And, went cross country and started DI school. I think our mid-September probably is when I started.
And did you have any clue that they had put you in for the Navy Cross?
No, I had heard rumors of a Bronze Star. The
A
Marine
little
Corps.
bit bigger than a little bit bigger than a Bronze Star, my friend. But
The Marine Corps is so secretive about awards.
yeah,
I don't care if you're getting a meritorious mast. It's like hush hush, nobody knows. But it just didn't matter. It just,
yeah.
Yeah.
I hear the same thing from the guys who receive the Medal of Honor. Each one of them to a T goes, "This isn't mine. I wear this and represent the guys that aren't
Yeah.
here." But every single one that have received it and they're living, and especially Navy Cross. If people don't know the presidents of this award, it's the second highest award we can receive in the military, and I know that you are as humble as they come. So it must have been incredible for you to all of a sudden hear, "I'm getting put in for what?"
Well, 2 years. I think it was about 2 years had gone by, and I was working as a drill instructor, and I think it was the company commander said, "I need you to come to my office." And on the drill field, that ain't a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, "What did I do?"
Yeah.
So I go in his office, and he says, "I need you to call the commanding general." And I'm like, "What the hell did I do?" I'm going to Leavenworth. And we called down to his milsec, and it was General Tryon.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Hey, basically, hey son, you're getting a Navy Cross." And I'll never forget I basically went speechless, and a tear started rolling down my face, and it was so many mixed emotions. It took me back 2 years to that hellhole, and it was it was hard for me. In fact, it's hard to describe, but the general said, "Can you come down here?" So I went down to his office, and we had a one-on-one, and I was trying to describe to him what I was feeling. I don't know. I think he understood, but I think he was trying to make me feel good about the award. I guess I don't, but I just couldn't bring myself to. All I could think about was those Marines we lost, and it just was it was bad. In fact, even after I was presented the award at Parris Island, Thursdays and Fridays down there, you wear Charlies. I wasn't even wearing the ribbon on my Charlies. They literally forced me to put it on. That's part of your uniform. You're going to wear it. And it was, a sergeant major down there that I really respect and look up to that told me, it doesn't have to be about you. It's not about you. Wear it for those Marines.
Yeah.
That ribbon is a license for you to tell their story and keep their memory alive. And when he put it like that, I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. And how did you're a big part of your book is about PTSD,
Yeah.
PTS, and not a D, PTS. So how did it manifest, and how did you were you able to work through the demons to be able to help others? Because some people it's very tough. But what was your do you have a secret? Is there anything that helped you more than other things?
You know, I was actually just talking about this earlier. A friend of mine, his mother reached out to me. He was dealing with some PTS issues, and I didn't have. I felt so bad because I didn't have anything good. Like I didn't have an answer because
Right.
everybody's so different. Medication works for me, where medication may not work for the next 10 guys.
Right.
I've done every type of therapy that there is when it comes to PTS. I don't get much out of talking to a therapist about what happened. That's me. But I do know guys that really helps them. So when people ask me, what would you recommend or what would you tell somebody, take all the different modalities out of it. And I think it's just being able to lean on your family and those that you trust and your brothers. And that is what helped me along with the medication. Um, and to say I'm cured, I'd be lying. I mean, I still have my issues. I I truly believe that it stays with you forever. I mean, how
Sure.
many World War II vets have we met, and it's still what they went through and what they experienced still bothers them.
Hmm.
But I think you learn to cope with it, and you learn to handle different situations that you're thrown into differently, and you just um, but it never goes away. That's what I do tell people, at least in my experience. It don't take much. I mean, I don't. People ask me all the time, "Did you watch such and such war?" I don't watch war movies. I don't care if it was from World War II. I don't care if it's a modern day. I know that that's a trigger for me. So why would I expose myself to that?
Sure.
So, but everybody's different.
Do you ever think about becoming a therapist, going back to school? Because I mean, you've got a great your personality, and I've watched you interact with different people over the years.
Yeah.
Your ability to dig into somebody and relate and empathize. Do you ever think about becoming a therapist? Because you could do some great things, my friend.
I did think about it once upon a time, but what I realized while working at the VA for those 12 years is I was taking a lot of that home with me. And I think
I see.
to be a good therapist, you can't do that. You will burn out, and and especially, I mean, that's really why I quit the VA. I mean, I got to the point where, I was laying in bed at night wondering how that guy or girl's doing. And I mean, it was just consuming my entire life, wondering what the hell's going on. And I just couldn't shut it off. When you're dealing with your own issues and then you're trying to help other people and then you're taking on their issues, I mean, it can just spiral out of control pretty quickly.
Well, I know. I mean, that's night and day from what you went through. But when my sister died, she fell off a bridge and got run over by a train when she was 19, when she was in college. And I remember my parents set me up with a therapist. I had to go see Doc on Shrink or whatever on campus. And I remember going in there and asking her as she was sitting there talking, I go, "Have you ever lost a sibling?" She goes, "No." I said, "So you've never experienced that loss?" "No." I said, "Then we're done here. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have the experience, then I don't want to talk to you. But I know that with your experience, as I want to show you something right here. Brady Joe, if anything you do or say helps one person, what you say or do is worth it. Stay strong. It's true. Um, your ability though to help others has you never know how you've touched lives, and so it's a great deal, my friend. It really is.
Yeah, and that was the whole reason behind the book was because I've been asked 100 times how'd the book come about. I kind of got tired of telling the story,
Hmm.
and I thought to myself, because if you read it, it's not. In my opinion, it's probably 70-30 talking about PTS and versus combat.
Right.
Um, but one thing that has motivated me and made me feel good about waking up is when I get a message from either a service member or a family member that your story inspired me and made me believe that I belong here and I can keep going.
Yeah.
Then it's worth it. That's why we did it.
Well, your first 5-7 pages is a nightmare,
Yeah.
recounting a nightmare that you probably have recurrent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you right now, folks, if you're listening, find this. Amazon, I think, is where I bought it years ago. Buy this book, and if you want to understand what your spouse, your brother, your husband is going through, that is such it's an incredible depiction, and brings forth all the issues. So you
Yeah.
you did a great job in and Bruning really polished a lot of stuff off.
Yeah. Yeah. And from day one, it was always about if we can just help one person.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And luckily for us, I think we've helped more than one based on the messages and the posts and the things that I've received over the years. I do sleep a little better knowing that we've helped families and service members, and because that's what it's about.
Let me ask you this: as a combat vet, do you find that these, like the fishing for warriors, or
Mm-hmm.
hunting, or the get-togethers where you can actually sit around the fire and have a beer with another guy that understands, it's been there with you?
Yep.
Do you find that that does help? I
I think
mean,
that what I think that is the most helpful thing. I've done several of them myself. The last one I did went out to Wyoming, um, did some fly fishing. But what even, yeah, that was great. But what really was impactful was coming back to the lodge, lighting that fire,
mhm.
and sitting around that fire with like-minded combat veterans that had shared the same shit sandwich. Because you feel comfortable, and to see somebody who's holds everything in, and you can tell they're hurting, you can tell they're in misery, to see them open up and basically spill their guts to you,
Mhm.
that it has to feel better when they're done, and
Yeah, a
that's what it's
thousand
about.
pounds off your shoulders. Yeah.
You can just see the relief, but they feel good about it because they're with like-minded folks.
So, is there a particular one that you would recommend you like to support and you can endorse here?
Um, yeah, the one Project Healing Waters is a good one. Um,
Mhm.
I think they're all over the country. Um, I'm drawing a blank on the outfit I went with out to Wyoming, but that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. And like I said, Wild Wood, I'll find it. Um,
No, you
but
can. We can put it in the comments later. But if
it was so
somebody's looking to
impactful.
donate to a charity to help, that you feel, is not, the money goes to a good cause and would actually help the guys,
Yeah,
that's what we want to promote.
yeah. I'll tell you when it comes to these, because there are a lot of charities out there that some are doing the right things, and there are a lot of them that aren't doing the right thing, and we all know that. But the Semper Fi Fund, in my opinion, if anybody out there that's watching, listening, if you were wanting to donate to a great cause, that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
They don't necessarily do the hunting and fishing, but they do so much for veterans, paying light bills and rent and car payments and just keeping people, because, as a man, if I can't pay my light bill and I got a wife and 2 kids, instantly that starts snowballing. I felt as a man, and then you start thinking you felt as a Marine. I mean, it just, all kinds of things come into your head, and it's, but they do great things. I mean, they just.
Good. All right. Semper Fi Foundation.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll put that out there as
Semper
well.
Fi Fund, yeah.
Or Semper Fi Fund. Yeah, we'll put that out there as well. You're right. There's a sea of goodwill out there in terms of really good ones, and some that you sit there and shake your head at, how much is the CEO making as the president of a nonprofit. And then you have these nonprofits that get guys together and they do it for the right reason. And when I'm a part of those, I go to a helicopter hog hunt down in Ennis, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And I see all the guys that go to that, and those guys, it's very powerful to see you're out in the country. So there's no one around. There's no one looking over his shoulder, no one videotaping, or no one. If you start to tell a story, they're going to look at you like you've got 3 heads. So they release and they have a good time, and they talk.
That's the best part, is watching people let their guard down a little bit and actually enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Because so many people walk around daily. I did it with a wall around you, and it's just it will kill you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that you have overcome this, my friend, and definitely, Jeremiah, if it helps one person buy this for them, I highly recommend reading this book, Shadow of the Sword. I love promoting books, and it's amazing to me when I see somebody that actually puts pen to paper and writes a fascinating account of their life. And this is a truly fascinating account, because it goes from war to life to dealing with the results of the war, back to life. And well done, my friend. Well done.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So when you coming back down to Texas?
I can't. I have nothing planned right now, but I can't wait. There's something special about that place.
Well, we'd like to.
You guys are doing it right down there, that's for sure.
Well, we need to get you back down, and I got questions for you. I see this. Can we talk about the shirt for a second? What shirt are you talking about, Eric? I have no clue. I have no clue what he's talking about. But thank you for your service story, Jeremiah. Freddie Joe. Just being in Wyoming is amazing. Of course,
absolutely.
It's my home.
Wyoming. There was some. It's very special out there. It's God's country.
And Jody says, Jeremiah, thank you for your service. Sorry for all you went through.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Outstanding recount on that day of hell, Rob. Jerry Worst is a neighbor of mine. Great guy. Let's see. Freddie Joe. How old are you? M79. How about a 203? Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a guy that likes old stuff. That's why I hang out with you, Freddie Joe. I mean, look at this. This is the new toy. So when you come down here, hey, how about that, Freddie Joe? I got a Mutt 151 now with a 106 recoilless rifle and a 30 cal on the side. How about that?
That'll do.
Freddie Joe. How about that one? Yeah. Let's see. Happy Veterans Day. Some great stuff. Oh, Damn, I missed the start. How'd you like Taco's shirt? What's he keep talking about shirt? I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Some great stuff. Yeah. I don't know where that picture came from that he's talking about. I should have had it. I should have had him send me that picture. I can put it up here. To What Remains will be in theaters December 7th. Watch the trailer. Terry Lee Bergen, her dad is R.V. Bergen. He was E.B. Sledge's sergeant in the Pacific.
Yep.
And happy Veterans Day. Let's see, we got some Rome. Happy Veterans Day. Great stuff. So you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Did you ever meet the Marine Commandant that was your boss?
I did.
And who was that?
I actually got, after, leaving the drill field, I went to the Pentagon and worked for a couple of years on Sergeant Major Kent and General Conway's staff. So I was with them. I was with them every day, and it was pretty cool, pretty inspiring to be around those two gentlemen. I mean, they bring out the best in everybody.
I got to meet General Conway in Afghanistan in 2008.
Yeah.
Really incredible leader. I like him a lot.
He is,
of course, General Berger is my OSO. So if you have to blame anybody for putting me in the Marine Corps, it was General Berger.
Yeah.
And of course, Scott Gibson. He played Ack, Captain Haldane in the Pacific. Look forward to reading your book, Jeremiah. Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. Simplify. He is my honorary Marine. He's Canadian. Don't let that get you. He played a Marine, by God. Hey, maybe you're good friends of Jim Conway. Maybe you could help me get the former Commandant of the Marine Corps on the show. I had General Berger on for the Marine Corps birthday last year with Bob Mojueski, Medal of Honor recipient. So, JM, I'm holding you to it. You're going to help me get General Conway on the show. How about that? Oh, I will try. Okay. Anybody else out there that has any questions or anything for Jeremiah, now's your time, because we're bumping up on an hour and 10 minutes. And my dad always complains that these things take too long. He goes, son, you got to cut it down to an hour. But the thing is, I'm sitting there shooting the bull with you and it just goes by so fast. Hey, so is Devin sitting in there with you right now?
He's right here.
Pull him over there. I got to do the Jedi mind trick on him here. Holy cow, dude, you were just like this big when I saw you. All right, so you want to be a Marine Corps aviator. That is just sweet music to my ears. That obviously means I did the Jedi mind trick to you so many years ago that made you planted a seed that's growing. And I'm sure your dad's like, yeah, dude, you don't want to be a door kicker. You don't want to be a bullet sponge. Go fly the F-18 that can level an entire block with a couple 500-pounders.
Yeah.
Well, Devin, great seeing you, and I appreciate you letting us borrow your dad for tonight. You're on national broadcast right now. There are millions of people flooding on their iPhones watching this on YouTube on Tall Tales with Taco. Well,
he's
not
looking
really
for a girlfriend.
What's that?
He's looking for a girlfriend.
Looking for a girlfriend. All right, man. You're 14 years old, man. You always that was actually the hardest age, I thought. 13, 14, 15. Because when you're a freshman, no girl wants to go out with you because you're not old enough to drive. And then when you're a sophomore, they're all going out with the seniors.
Yep.
And you're too cool to go out with a freshman girl. And then you're a junior, finally like kind of cool. Maybe you go out with a sophomore girl, maybe date a senior. And then all of a sudden your senior year, like, man, I can't wait to go to college. So here's the deal, dude. You got to go to college. You got to join the Marines because they have a guaranteed flight contract. The only branch that has a guaranteed flight contract. You have the best recruiter right there that will literally DI, that will set you straight, give you the knife hand, tell you how to be outstanding, but don't stand out when you go to OCS, and just go to college, work hard, get good grades. They don't care. It's a secret. They don't care what your major is. So when you go talk to the Navy geeks, all my rust picker brothers that flew in the Navy, I literally went up to the guy, and the guy goes, "So, man, what's your major?" And I said, "History." And he goes, "Oh, yeah. All of our pilots have hard math backgrounds. Take some. What math class have you taken?" I said, "I took math 101, with all the basketball, football players." He goes, "Yeah, that's not going to work. Go take some calculus, come back and talk to me." So then I go up, and General Berger's standing there in the student union, and he goes, "Hey, come here." Ralph Hughes, I think, took me over and introduced me to him. "Hey, this is my OSO, Captain Berger." "Hey, Captain Berger, nice to meet you. And what do you want to do?" I said, "Well, I want to be a pilot." He goes, "Well, that's cool because," and he points behind me, and he's got all these airplane pictures up on the Sprint. And he goes, "Because we have our own Air Force." And I'm like, I didn't know the Marines had all this stuff. A6, A4, F4. I mean, they had everything. Yeah. And if you take this air test and you pass it, and you take a physical and you pass that, we'll give you a contract to go to OCS. So I took the test, and I'm telling you, dude, people had written out the formulas at the bottom of the pages, and they just took an eraser and kind of erased it. So I could still see where people had written out the formulas, and was able to decipher and figure out, oh, okay, that algebraic question. Yeah, okay, I can do that. And I passed the test by the film of scum on my teeth. And Berger goes, "Well, you barely passed the math portion, but you passed, and that's all that counts." And I'm like, whew. And I'm thinking to the OSA, Gunny, I'm like, "Hey, thanks for, you can still see that stuff. I didn't get a fresh test." And so, so then I go do the physical. Then I come back, and I call my dad, and I go, "Hey, Dad, what do you think about the Marine Corps?" "Oh, tough sons of bitches, son. When I was in Vietnam, they were tough." And I said, "Well, I took the air test for the Marine Corps and I passed." "So where are you?" "Well, I'm in the recruiter's office." "Did you sign any papers?" "Yes, sir." He gets on the phone with Berger. Berger's like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh-huh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I understand, sir. Sir, I don't know what to tell you, but your son's over 18. He can do whatever the hell he wants." That went over well, like a pregnant pole vaulter. So anyway, but I'm telling you, my life would never be the same if I joined the Air Force or something like that. You want to be a pilot? There's there are some Air Force things I would tell you, like the Air Guard. Those guys, you know what you're going to fly. So when you join a unit and you go to flight school and you come out, you could be number one in your class. You could be the very anchored baby, but you're still flying Raptors, or you're flying F-35s, or you're flying C-130s or C-17s. So there is an advantage to that, because in the Marine Corps, you get done with flight school, you've got three choices: jets, props, helos. And I'll tell you this, if you have your heart set to be a F-14 Tomcat guy, like Top Gun came out and everyone wanted to be an F-14 guy or jet guy. You literally, whatever platform you fly, whether it be the MV-22 or Cobras or C-130s or F-18s or Harriers or F-35s, it is the most fun you can ever have with your clothes on, just being an aviator. And you get paid extra to do it, Devin.
Yeah.
You get paid extra to do it. While your dad's kicking indoors, this is, somebody's flying up there getting per diem, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And then you become a rich airline pilot, and you can own, a bunch of toys and stuff. So, dude, I'm doing the Jedi mind trick on you. I know it. I can feel it. As a matter of fact, Devin, watch tomorrow. I've got a special deal. I have the honor of interviewing Colonel Dean Caswell, the last living Marine Corps World War II ace. Shot down 7 Japanese.
Jeez.
So the last living ace in the whole world, Marine Corps ace. So I'm going down there to go interview him tomorrow, and then I'll broadcast that tomorrow night. I don't think I'm going to do it live. I think I'm just going to talk to him, pre-record, and then broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out, my friend, because F4U Corsair is pretty damn cool. And I think you'll enjoy it. Well, hey, I'm going to drop you off here and say goodnight to the folks. And I can't thank you enough for hanging out with us tonight. Anything else you want to part? It's the Marine Corps birthday. Is there anything else you want to?
Happy 246 Marines, and to those, today's Veterans Day. If you wore a nation's cloth, I salute you, and God bless America.
Hoorah!
Hoorah!
I get right back to you. Hold on a second.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for joining us tonight on Tall Tales of a Taco. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends. Hit the like button, subscribe, because you never know when all of a sudden one of my programs is going to pop up, like tomorrow when I interview Colonel Caswell. So sit back, relax, enjoy the rest of the night, and I look forward to seeing you on another Tall Tales with Taco. Tuesday, I'm going to have another Marine on. It's going to be an awesome show. This particular guest has been in about 4 different services, started out in the Marine Corps, but it's some great stuff. And then following that, I have an actor who is from Afghanistan, and Ferrum was so in love with this country that he went back and volunteered to assist Marines in Afghanistan. It's going to be a fantastic show. That's going to be on the 24th. And then on the 30th, on my birthday, I've got Sluggo coming back out, and he's going to give us part 2 of his story. If you didn't catch that, go back about a week's episode and watch my buddy Sluggo, Delta pilot and Harrier guy, who did a Anglico tour with the Iraqis in Basra. So now we're going to continue with part 2, Basra, as he moves north. It's going to be very interesting. You're going to love it. Can't wait till that book comes out. So until I see you next week, you guys have a great night. Remember, wherever you go, there you are. Adios, hasta luego, sa wiedersehen, tschüss, sheshe, ni, au revoir, domarigato gozaimasu, tamno shinde, kudasai, ciao, arrivederci. Really cool uniform back there behind me. I like that guy. Thank you, Freddie Joe. I owe you, brother. Anyway, you guys take care. Hoorah.